What's up, people? We are back with more SC2VN. Just the night before the show match, and I feel like we're as prepared as we possibly could be given the circumstances, so let's hope for a W. Gotta pray for the W. Given the mood coming out of the cafe, I'm surprised to find that none of us have all that much to say as we loiter around the park bench. Stunt's attention never strays from the game on his phone, while Riva and Axel simply stare off into space. Jet paces back and forth, though her gait lacks its usual purpose. Between all five of us, silence. Maybe not all that much needs to be said. We all know the stakes. Everyone's done their part to prepare for tomorrow. It's natural for us to feel nervous. The key is to keep it from affecting our chance of winning. That's a really high stress and high pressure situation for Mach, because sure, it is sort of a team effort, but in the end he's the one who's gotta do it. So sure, his team helped him prepare as well as possible, but in the end it's all up to him to just do as well as he can and obviously defeat Bolt. It is sad. I shift my gaze towards Riva, surprised to find her staring at the ground. What is? This may be the last evening we gather as a team. Come on, Riva. Don't say stuff like that. It won't do us any good. But it is the truth. Mach, please win tomorrow. I do not want to stop spending time with all of you. I have been a happier person since I joined this team. I would strongly prefer to stay that way. Guarded as she is, Riva intones a sadness that the rest of us are trying to deny. Even Jet ceases her march to observe the exchange. I feel the same way, Riva. I'll win tomorrow. I promise. The penalty for lying is death. Oh, even more at stake. Riva breathes out a sigh and collects herself. I believe that you will. Me too. Mach probably plays an important part of my story to become the greatest player of all time. Hell yeah, I'll make a cameo in his live depicting movie. The first chapter can't end with a loss. It just wouldn't make sense. Actually, it kind of would make sense, because if you lose in the beginning and then bounce back even stronger, then it's like, yeah, the hero of the movie, he faces adversity at first and then he overcomes it. An arm slings itself around my shoulder. With a glance, I find that it belongs to Axel. Feeling alright? Not as bad as before, but the pressure is still there. As your coach, I am obligated to encourage you to win. But what's most important is what you want. For what it's worth, I'm with Riva. I'd be sad to see you leave Korea. I've got more than enough motivation for tomorrow. Is that what we're here for? It isn't just for you. For the first time since she barged into my room, Jet addressed me directly. Her expression is devoid of the intensity that I've come to know of her. I wasn't lying when I said that you had the potential to be great. True as that is, it doesn't make you special. Everyone has the capability to be a champion. It isn't genetic or unique. I'm not denying the existence of talent, but it's not nearly as essential as people make it out to be. StarCraft and everything else is about way more than that. Most people are either unwilling or unable to work hard. Simply being able to overcome that barrier makes it possible to do things that other people sit around and daydream about. Exactly, like that's what you see sometimes in sports as well. Like, for example, you'll see people that are talented and very talented and is sort of skated through most of the competition in that regard, just solely because of their talent. And then when you get to the top of the top, where it requires both talent and incredibly hard work, that's where some of those people actually fall off. So it's always just a combination. Like, sure, talent is it's good to have talent, but if you don't have a hard work ethic, then at the end it's kind of gonna fall apart because so in that sense the best combination is to have both, of course, but sometimes people that actually just work so much harder than a talented individual might actually just beat that talented individual solely because of all the hours of hard work and training and blood, sweat, and tears that he poured into it, compared to someone else that just kind of la 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 la, oh, I'm pretty good at this, oh, I'm gonna take a nap, oh, I'm gonna blah blah blah, and then the other guy meanwhile is just training 12 hours a day. So yeah, obviously talent only gets you so far is what I'm trying to say. If you've done that, you can lose without regrets. Have you? Yeah, I have. Good. Then all that's left is to trust it'll earn us the win. Silence follows Jet's final remarks, leaving us with an air of gravitas. It's only a quip from Stunt that saves the rest of us from our glum-faced stare-down. Deep. Don't be a prick, Stunt. Alright, let's go over the game plan for tomorrow. How you play is up to you, but it's probably smart to stick to what you've been practicing. Yeah, I know better than to invent a build on the fly. How about you open us up, Jet? Still against the build Reva prepared for game 1? I understand the idea. I just don't think it's a sure win. Bolt would probably assume Mach is looking for a to steal a win, so he'll be on the lookout for something non-standard. It was devised with that in mind. If executed as planned, it should secure a lead, if not a victory. That look in Reva's eyes. I actually sort of... I got... when was it? About a month ago, or maybe... yeah, I think a bit more than a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. I actually got new glasses. I got like 2 pairs of glasses. And compared to my older ones, they're actually a little bit looser on my head. So sometimes they just kind of glide off, you know? And... once I tried to put it back on in the same exact way as she did, as Reva does right now, or as they do in animes in general, and I didn't even notice that I was doing it that way. But when I realized it, I was like, oh yeah, I feel like a boss. I feel exactly like they do in the animes, like ching, and then the glare in the glasses. It felt awesome for like the first time, and then after that, it kind of feels cheesy. And every time I think about it, god damn it, I gotta stop that. Alright. Don't give Bolt any respect that he hasn't earned. If you let him set the pace for the series, it'll be an uphill battle. I agree with that, actually. Alright, fine. It's just not my style of play. Moving on. How about mid-game? I was planning on my usual style. Dropships to establish map control and slow down his third base. If I scout that he's being too greedy, I go for the kill. That's solid. I wouldn't change anything there. Seconded. It's annoying playing against those kinds of Terrans if I can't kill them early. Reva fidgets with her glasses, evidently disagreeing. Do not write off the possibility of Mech. He's barely practiced Mech. Why would you even suggest that? It is the ideal unit composition when played at its apex. Only if he can get there safely, which will be practically impossible against a Protoss as lethal as Bolt. Reva concedes her suggestion with a shrug. Last thing, late game. If Bolt manages to get on 3 bases, don't try to end the game in a direct fight unless you have tons of defenses prepared to slow down his march. The fully powered Protoss army is stronger than a maxed out Terran, so you have to look elsewhere to find an edge. The opposite is true in Brood War, so he's used to being the aggressor. If you see Bolt eager to engage with you, don't automatically assume it's because he'll roll you. That reminds me, are there any other kind of mistakes that Brood War players make when they first switch to StarCraft 2? You and Axel should know better than anyone. It's the little things, honestly. Knowledge that you take for granted that Bolt has to work for. You can look at 5 Marauders and know they'll crush 7 Stalkers without actively thinking about it, for example. He probably can't yet. That, and his strategies. Bolt hasn't played Star 2 for as long as you, so he's probably only up to date on standard builds from the current meta. He'll be relying on game sense and mechanics to carry him through that shortcoming. If you get a read on him, he won't be able to fall back onto an older style. And as strong a Brood War player as he is, Bolt isn't immune to slip-ups, especially in a new game. If he expands too fast or spreads his army too thin, crush him. Yeah, I got it. Then I guess we've done everything we can. Nothing to do but play. You'll want to run through some warm-ups and get a glimpse of the crowd early to keep your nerves down. So don't be late. That's actually good advice, because probably if it's like 5 minutes before the game and you see like the crowd at that moment, like the moment you first step into the booth, and you're like, oh god. But if you see it early, like, oh god, there's so many people. But then you still have perhaps an hour, half an hour to just kind of get used to that, because obviously the first time that you see the crowd, you're gonna get like this weird feeling in your stomach, like sort of butterflies in your stomach, right? But after all, that's just gonna calm down. So a good tip from a professional, of course. Can't expect anything better from our coach. When I answer with a nod, Axel smiles. A final glimpse at the 4 faces of my teammates underscores the need to win tomorrow. Nothing else needs to be said. Everyone has placed not only their trust, but also their futures in me. Failure is not an option. Oh, look at that. My team. I gotta do it for them. I won't be in this apartment for much longer, but I'm going to leave it on my own terms. How are you feeling, Mach? Oh, it's Mr. Kim. I blink my eyes and rub them awake. An hour of warm-up at the studio has left me with only 15 minutes before the match is set to begin. The powder on my face feels weird. Standard procedure for all broadcasted matches, or so the makeup artist says. Behind Mr. Kim, a small crowd filters into the stage area. The semi-finals for the Victory Star League begins right after the show match, so it's unlikely that everyone is here just to watch me and Bolt play. But judging by the numbers of people sporting the black and white colors of Shock T1, there are at least a few. Oh, Mr. Kim, sorry. I'm well. Good. Best of luck in your match. Let's hope that this is the beginning of a long and fruitful partnership. Awfully supportive words from a person who was talking trash about me earlier, but alright. I lower my head in a curt bow. I mean, obviously you can't say back to him, right? Anything negative back to him, right? Because he's going to be the one sponsoring our team if we win, so you don't want to piss off that guy, or he's already sort of meh about us solely because of the fact that we're a foreigner with unproven results. So he can be an asshole to us, sadly, and we can't do anything about it because we're kind of dependent on him. I appreciate it. Sometimes that's just your position. Like, it's just in life in general. If someone's above you and he's acting an asshole, you're like, god damn it. You know that it doesn't have to be this way, but just solely because that person is an asshole and you just, because of your position, you can't do anything about it. So your only choice is to sort of just suck it up. Yeah, not fun to be in those positions nevertheless, but sometimes it needs to be done. You know, something, you just start at the bottom, but eventually you rise, and when you rise above that asshole, you're like, fuck you. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Mr. Kim matches my bow with a nod and then slips around the corner and into the studio. I'm allowed only a minute of time to myself before the businessman's presence is replaced by Axel's. Ready? Yeah, I'm ready. And I am. I stretch out my wrist and crack my knuckles to emphasize it. Oh yeah, cracking them knuckles. I actually used to do that a lot up until the point where my mom actually said like, oh, it's so bad, don't do that, it's bad for you. You get what was it called? I don't know. But it's, I don't know if it, like, you hear so many studies like, oh yeah, it's actually unproven that it causes that particular disease or whatever, and other people say like, no, it's still bad, but whatever. It used to be a bad habit of mine, but I don't do it as much anymore. I only actually do it when I'm sort of nervous or whatever, or it's like you're in an awkward situation, like, uh-oh, I don't know what to do, and then I just start cracking my knuckles. But other than that, I don't really do it anymore. But I used to be able to crack all my fingers, like crack the little tips of my fingers like I'm doing now, like really elaborate, like something. In the Philippines, everyone does it, yeah, almost everyone. They're like crack every single part of their finger, can crack it 20 times. And I'm like, wow. And that's kind of where I got it from as well, but yeah. I learned that bad habit off. Good. Let's go. It's showtime! Ho ho! But before we get into that, we have a special match before the VSTL begins, don't we? That's right! Most of you have likely heard of the news that Axel and Jet have left their teams to begin their own. Regardless of how the fans feel, one must admit that it was quite an ambitious decision. Certainly, but today we have a match to decide whether those two will have their risk pay off. A generous prize from Enoch Group has allowed us to host a show match between two wildly different players. A new sponsor! How exciting! On top of that, it's refreshing to see that KPGA has finally begun to embrace StarCraft 2. How much do we know about the Protoss Bolt? He's a very strong player from Shock T1, but this is his first appearance in a StarCraft 2 match, isn't that right? We'll have to see how his Brood War skills translate. What about his opponent, Mach? Do we know much about him? There was very little information available about him online, so we must assume that he is an amateur. All the same, he must be quite skilled for Jet and Axel to call him their teammate. It dawns on me that this match is probably being broadcasted online. Should I have told my parents or friends to tune in and watch? No, enough! I'm tired of obsessing over acceptance from everyone from back home. This has nothing to do with them. Exactly, you do it for yourself, you don't do it for the acceptance of others. I'm so hyped, I'm so pumped right now, let's do this! I probably have to make decisions throughout the game, and if I make the wrong decision, it's gonna be game over. I'm pretty sure it's gonna that's going to be the case, but I'm gonna try my best, obviously, to make the right decisions, because I don't want to let my whole team down. I mean, just that picture earlier where all four of them were staring at me and just like with hopeful eyes. Please win this, our future depends on you. And you're like, how can I let those, my friends, my teammates down? No way! Now let's get the comments from our players. Please welcome Bolt and Mach! A production assistant gestures me forward, and I step out onto the stage. Bolt approaches me from the other side, standing just a few feet from me when we come to a stop. Oh, this is where the trash talking begins. He gives me a wave, and a few dozen people erupt into cheers. Among them are the screams of at least 10 fangirls. Oh yeah, what is the life of a pro gamer in Korea? You get to have fangirls. Awesome. With a microphone in hand, he addresses the crowd with a charming disposition, completely opposite from every interaction I've shared with him. First, I would like to thank my fans for coming today. I've worked hard to prove that KPGA players will place first in StarCraft 2 championships in the near future. I've always performed well under pressure throughout my pro gaming career, but today, I don't think that I will have to worry about that. The comments draw a few laughs from the audience, KPGA fans and not. He continues, I am confident that I'll only drop one map today. My opponent's years of StarCraft 2 must have earned him at least one win against my single week. That's just an outright lie, but judging by the crowd's reaction, they're buying it completely. Yeah, he hasn't only played it for 1 week. Foreigners could never compete in Brood War. I'm here to prove that the same is true in StarCraft 2. I promise to show you all good games. Please cheer for me. He lifts a fist to another uproar of applause. What a fake piece of shit. But before I can spend any more time lingering on how much I dislike Bolt, the VSL hostess takes the mic from him and offers it to me. I mean, that's one thing as well, because we're a foreigner and we're in Korea, most of the people are automatically going to side with the Korean player, right? Because especially in sort of Asian countries, especially in I mean, probably in sports as well, but I especially felt it like in Dota 2 and eSports, that's for Chinese teams, which are mainly the dominant ones in Dota and Dota 2, at least for the... It switches every now and then, but for most of the part, when the Chinese teams are dominant, and when it's like a tournament in China, they will root for even the weakest Chinese team, if that is the only Chinese team left, just because of nationalistic bond or feeling, whatever. But it's pretty much like that, and I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people are just solely because of that cheering for Bolt as well. I mean, sure, a lot are probably fans of Bolt as well, but they're like, oh, Korean against foreigner. Well, I'm from Korea, I live in Korea, obviously I'm gonna cheer for the Korean guy. Some people might be like, yeah, I like the underdog, but I think, I'm not sure if it is in Korea, like if they are very nationalistic about that, but Chinese teams in Dota 2 definitely are. Say a few words to your fans. I was told you can speak Korean, correct? 안녕하세요. Before I know it, the microphone is in my hand. I try my best not to look bewildered and turn my attention to the audience. 안녕하세요. I'm Mach. I want to thank my team for helping me prepare for today's match, and the Enoch Group for sponsoring the show match. I will do my best to win. Thank you. My earnest approach earns me a polite response from the crowd, though not one that comes close to matching Bolt's. Please shake hands and go to your booths. Oh, look at that! Bolt is first to turn. His smile, no doubt, designed and manufactured in an underground KPGA laboratory, belies the edge I see in his eyes. He offers his hand and I reach forward to take it for a single shake. I hope you practiced hard. I'm going to destroy you. I did, don't worry. Not likely. I really want to see you lose. That's good. It will be a shame to disappoint the fans with an uneven series. It doesn't matter what you want. You're trash, and after this you'll never forget it. Agreed. Let's make sure to show exciting games. Easy to say. Let's see if you can actually do it. We separate without incident, and I turn to take my place in the booth. Oh, Mach. Mach. It's the moment of truth. Jet stands outside the door with my keyboard, mouse, and mousepad in hand. What the hell is this? She drops a keypad into my hand. I think that's my Windows key. It doesn't belong on the pro gamer's keyboard. Fat fingering that during a battle will tab you out and lose you the game. She huffs and breaks eye contact. It's obvious that she's at least as stressed as I am. Jet, I've got this. She looks so worried. I know. Do your best, Mach. Fighting. With a nod, she pushes open the booth door. Once inside, the ambient sound of the stage lights, cameras, and screens die down. All that I can hear is the subtle hum of the crowd and my own pulse. It will be peaceful if not for the adrenaline burning through my veins. This is my first time inside of a booth. My heart is racing, and nothing I try to tell myself as I plug in my peripherals and configure my settings helps to calm it. Playing in front of a crowd in VSL has been a goal of mine for more than a year. Even with how hard I've been working, it feels like there should have been more build-up to this moment. Yet, here I am. I reach out to touch the soundproofing material, if only to allow another of my senses to confirm that the moment is real. Even as I try to keep my focus away from the crowd and onto the game, I keep glancing past the computer monitor and towards my teammates seated in the front row. They wave and cheer at me as the studio lights dim. I force myself to look back at the PC and focus entirely on the match at hand. Everything I've done over the past week, no, the months I've been in Korea, and even the time before that, it all leads up to this moment. I'm gonna be evil here and end the video here. I'm sorry, I just really wanna keep this at a cliffhanger for now because this is probably the most exciting part, and we're just gonna go hype in the next video. So you know what? I'm gonna end the video here. Maybe I'll upload a double just to not, you know, keep you guys into suspense too long, but I'm gonna end this particular video for here at least. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. And the next show match of our life, the most important one, is going to start in the next video. So see you then. Peace.